2.5 decades have passed since the untimely departure of England's beloved Princess Diana in a tragic accident. The poignant memory of her funeral still resonates vividly in the hearts and minds of many, characterized by countless mournful faces and sorrow-laden flowers adorning the palace gates. Although Princess Diana's funeral garnered extensive media coverage, much of the truth surrounding that fateful day in 1997 remains obscured beneath the surface narrative. Today, we aim to unveil the concealed aspects of the royal family's experience during the mourning of Princess Diana. Let us embark on this journey to shed light on the events that transpired. The challenge of planning Diana's funeral. Diana's funeral, held on September 6, 1997, stands as a historic event that provided an opportunity to unite not only the royals and the British public, but also people from around the world in a shared moment of loss. The guest list itself was a testament to Diana's far-reaching influence, with dignitaries and celebrities from various corners of the globe gathering to pay their respects. However, amidst the solemnity, moments of unexpected drama unfolded, including controversies over flags and protocol, adding a layer of tension to an already emotionally charged occasion. In the tumultuous aftermath of Princess Diana's sudden and tragic demise on August 31, 1997, organizers faced the unprecedented challenge of orchestrating a fitting farewell within a mere 6 days. The urgency was compounded by the immense outpouring of public grief, which heightened the stakes for the palace and government officials tasked with planning the funeral's details. The limited time frame necessitated the swift adaptation of existing plans meticulously crafted for other members of the royal family. The intricacies of royal funerals were not unfamiliar to those responsible for orchestrating such events. Plans for the funerals and ceremonies of various royals had been in existence for years, each assigned its discrete code name. This level of preparation reflected the meticulous nature of the British monarchy, enabling a well-organized response during times of unexpected loss. For example, preparations for the Queen's death, codenamed London Bridge, had been underway since the 1960s, demonstrating foresight that extended to other members of the royal family. However, the plan implemented for Princess Diana's funeral bore the codename Tay Bridge, in homage to a bridge in Dundee, Scotland. This choice was not due to any particular connection between Diana and Scotland, but rather stemmed from the absence of a specific plan for her untimely passing. Her sudden demise left organizers without a tailored strategy, leading them to adapt the plan originally crafted for another member of the royal family, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. This unexpected turn of events resulted in a peculiar situation where the Queen Mother, who was very much alive at the time of Diana's death, witnessed aspects of her funeral plan being put into action. The use of an existing plan underscored the unprecedented nature of Princess Diana's death and the need to swiftly adapt to the circumstances to provide a dignified and organized farewell for the people's princess. In the aftermath of Princess Diana's untimely passing, Queen Elizabeth II faced accusations of coldness towards the famously warm and beloved princess. Public scrutiny reached a symbolic focal point at Buckingham Palace, where the empty flagpole, traditionally reserved for the royal standard, stood devoid of its usual presence. During the immediate aftermath, Queen Elizabeth II found herself at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, offering solace to her bereaved grandsons, Princes William and Harry. The dynamics surrounding the flag and its symbolism underwent a dramatic shift in the wake of Princess Diana's tragic passing. The seamless transition of the flag upon a monarch's death, symbolizing the continuity of the monarchy, was disrupted by the unprecedented circumstances, further fueling public scrutiny and criticism of the Queen's actions. The turning point. The turning point arrived on the day of Diana's funeral, a solemn occasion that demanded a departure from centuries-old protocol. Breaking with tradition, Queen Elizabeth II authorized a significant gesture of respect as she departed for the funeral. The royal standard, which had proudly stood atop the flagpole, was taken down, and in its place the Union flag, the national flag of the United Kingdom, was raised to half-mast. This symbolic act marked a departure from the usual practice and conveyed a sense of mourning and solidarity with the nation's grief. This departure from tradition had a lasting impact, Since that pivotal day, the Union flag has continued to fly at half-mast over Buckingham Palace whenever the Queen is not in residence, breaking the long-standing rule of only flying the royal standard. The Queen's decision to extend this practice beyond the specific circumstances of Diana's funeral demonstrated her recognition of the public's feelings and a willingness to adapt to the evolving expectations of the monarchy. Queen Elizabeth II further emphasized her respect for moments of national mourning by authorizing the flying of the Union flag at half-mast on the first anniversary of Diana's funeral. This compassionate gesture became a precedent for other periods of national sorrow, including the aftermath of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001, and the London bombings on July 7, 2005. In each instance, the Queen's decision to fly the Union flag at half-mast reflected a nuanced understanding of the role of the monarchy in responding to the collective emotions of the British people. Heart-wrenching farewell. William and Harry at Princess Diana's funeral. One of the most heartbreaking and indelible images from Princess Diana's funeral, etched into the collective memory of onlookers, was the sight of her two young sons, William and Harry, walking behind their mother's coffin. At the time, William was just 15 years old, and Harry was a mere 12. This somber procession, a heartbreaking symbol of grief and loss, also included their father, Prince Charles, Diana's brother, Charles Earl Spencer, and their paternal grandfather, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, who offered moral support to his grieving grandsons. Earl Spencer later reflected on this poignant moment, describing the walk as the most horrifying half-hour of his life. He emphasized that it must have been an even more agonizing experience for Prince William and Harry, bearing witness to the entire world mourning their beloved mother. Earl Spencer revealed that he was told the brothers had chosen to walk with the coffin, a choice that was seemingly in line with Diana's wishes. According to him, Diana herself would not have wanted it this way. However, the brothers hold somewhat differing perspectives on their role in the procession. In a BBC documentary aired in August 2017, Prince William shared that walking behind his mother's coffin was one of the most difficult moments of his life. He acknowledged the delicate balance between duty and family, expressing that it was something they had to do. In contrast, a few months earlier, Prince Harry gave an interview to Newsweek, expressing his belief that a child should not be asked to walk behind their mother's coffin. He remarked, "I don't think it would happen today." However, in the later documentary, Harry somewhat backtracked on his earlier statement, noting that he didn't necessarily view it as the right or wrong decision. He expressed satisfaction that he was able to participate in the funeral, indicating a nuanced perspective on a moment that was both deeply personal and unavoidably public. Loyalties and betrayal. During the funeral procession for Princess Diana, a moment of significant symbolism occurred as the procession passed Buckingham Palace. Queen Elizabeth II, along with other members of the royal family, including Princess Margaret, stood outside the palace gates to pay their respects to the late princess. The details of this poignant moment were revealed in a book by Princess Diana's biographer, Andrew Morton, as excerpted in Town and Country magazine. According to Morton's account, Queen Elizabeth II bowed her head low as the coffin of Princess Diana passed, demonstrating a gesture of respect and mourning. However, Princess Margaret's response was notably more reserved. She barely nodded in acknowledgement. This subtle difference in their reactions hinted at underlying tensions within the royal family, particularly given Margaret's unique relationship with Diana. Morton's book further delves into the dynamics between Princess Margaret and Princess Diana. In an unexpected and somewhat surreal moment, just before the funeral procession reached them while waiting by the gates, Princess Margaret reportedly attempted to discuss the improvement of the bathrooms at Kensington Palace. This residence, located nearby, had once been the shared home of Margaret and Diana, who lived in adjacent apartments. The conversation about bathroom renovations amid a funeral procession underscored the strained relationship between the two royal figures. The early days of Margaret's and Diana's relationship did not foreshadow this level of coldness. Margaret, having experienced her fair share of turmoil with the British press, initially could relate to Diana's challenges in the public eye. Margaret had been the royal family member who frequently drew attention from the paparazzi in her earlier years. However, despite these shared experiences, Margaret's ultimate loyalty remained steadfast to the Queen and the Crown. When Diana broke what was considered a cardinal unwritten rule in the Royal Handbook by giving a tell-all interview on the BBC show Panorama, Margaret's allegiance immediately shifted. The interview, in which Diana candidly discussed her marriage and life within the royal family, was seen as a betrayal of the family's privacy. Margaret, in line with her loyalty to the monarchy, turned against Diana. Even in the wake of Diana's tragic death, Margaret's feelings remained unchanged, showcasing the enduring complexities and rifts within the royal family despite the shared grief over the loss of the people's princess. Unprecedented public mourning. Princess Diana's sudden and tragic death in 1997 was met with an outpouring of grief and shock from the public. She was widely regarded as one of the most relatable members of the royal family. In the days following her passing, a staggering display of public mourning unfolded. According to the New York Times, as many as 60 million flowers were laid outside Buckingham Palace by members of the public, creating a sea of floral tributes that reflected the depth of the emotional connection people felt with the people's princess. The funeral procession itself drew an estimated 1 million mourners who lined the route to catch a glimpse of Princess Diana's cortege as it passed by. The sheer number of people prompted officials to extend the route to accommodate the overwhelming turnout. Prince William, in a 2017 BBC documentary, vividly described the intense emotions expressed by the public during the procession. Mourners were shouting, wailing, throwing flowers, yelling, and sobbing, and some even fainted amid the overwhelming grief. At the time, Prince William found it difficult to comprehend how people who had never personally known Diana could be so profoundly affected by her loss. However, he later came to understand the global impact she had made and the deep connection people felt with her. The public response to Diana's death extended beyond borders, transcending social, cultural, and geographical boundaries. Beyond those who could attend in person, as reported by the LA Times, shops and other venues across the country shut down in a gesture of respect during the funeral. Sports events were postponed or canceled. Even the weekly national lottery draw was called off. Throughout Britain, people participated in the minute's silence, held at the end of the funeral as a collective expression of mourning. The scale of the global audience for Princess Diana's funeral was unprecedented. An estimated 2.5 billion people tuned in to watch the live TV broadcast, which represented nearly half the world's population at that time. Additionally, Diana's passing became one of the earliest internet events, as people connected online to share their stories, collectively mourn, and voice their concerns against the paparazzi, who played a role in the events leading up to the tragic car crash. Princess Diana's death not only prompted a significant departure from traditional funeral protocols, but also fueled public discussions about the evolving role of the monarchy in the modern age. The unprecedented public response to Diana's passing forced the royal family to navigate a delicate balance between tradition and the changing expectations of the people they serve. In the wake of Princess Diana's tragic death, the royal family found themselves grappling with a tangible expression of the public's overwhelming grief. Global condolences, books, and family dynamics. Aftermath of Princess Diana's funeral. By September 5th, just one day before the funeral, there were already 43 books of condolence filled with messages from the public, and the count continued to rise. Additionally, condolence books were strategically placed in British embassies and consulates worldwide, allowing those outside the United Kingdom to share their sympathies. The overwhelming response demonstrated the deep and widespread sense of loss felt by people around the world for the people's princess. Beyond the physical condolence books, people across the country signed condolence books in various locations, contributing to the collective outpouring of grief. These books were eventually consolidated and moved to Kensington Palace, adding to the repository of messages that bore witness to the deep emotional connection between the public and Princess Diana. As the world grappled with the loss of a global icon, some individuals embraced the emerging era of technology to convey their condolences. According to the LA Times, the royal family's website received a staggering 60,000 virtual messages of condolence, a noteworthy feat in 1997, when the internet was not as ubiquitous as it is today. This digital avenue of expression highlighted the evolving ways in which people sought to connect and share their emotions in the face of a tragedy that resonated far beyond the borders of the United Kingdom. Earl Spencer's eulogy was widely regarded as one of the greatest in British history, resonating deeply with the public. It was also interpreted as an accusation that the palace had attempted to constrain Diana's vibrant spirit. Metaphorically, the applause from the crowd reflected a shared sentiment among the mourners. Charles, Earl Spencer, later clarified that his intention was not to accuse the palace of trying to cage Diana's spirit. He mentioned that he had heard from Queen Elizabeth II, who, when asked about the speech, reportedly responded, he had every right to say whatever he felt. This acknowledgement from the Queen indicated a degree of acceptance of Earl Spencer's expression of grief and frustration. Elton John's tribute. Candle in the Wind, 1997, at Princess Diana's funeral. The bond between Diana and Elton John had formed rapidly after they met at Prince Andrew's 21st birthday party. Their friendship was characterized by shared interests, including a mutual commitment to promoting AIDS charities. However, their friendship faced a significant strain when Diana unexpectedly withdrew from a photo book project aimed at raising funds for the AIDS Foundation, leaving Elton John puzzled. The abrupt decision led to a falling out between the two friends. It was only at another funeral, that of their mutual friend Gianni Versus, that the rift began to heal. Tragically, Diana passed away just 5 weeks later. At Princess Diana's funeral, Elton John took the stage to deliver a heartfelt musical tribute. He performed an updated version of his 1973 song, Candle in the Wind, which had originally been dedicated to Marilyn Monroe. For this occasion, Elton John enlisted the help of frequent Beatles producer George Martin, who arranged a string quartet version of the song. The lyrics underwent a poignant transformation, with Bernie Taupin, John's songwriting partner, making changes to honor Diana. The iconic line, "Goodbye Norma Jean," was transformed into "Goodbye England's Rose," encapsulating the essence of the revised tribute. Overwhelmed by nervousness about potentially forgetting the lyrics, Elton John opted to use a teleprompter during his performance, as reported by Reuters. This live rendition at Princess Diana's funeral marked the only time he performed this updated version of the song live. However, when the recording was officially released on September 13th, it quickly became an unprecedented success. It not only claimed the title of the best-selling song of 1997 in the UK, but also secured its place as the best-selling song of all time in the country. On a global scale, it has been surpassed only by Bing Crosby's White Christmas. The proceeds from the single, a reimagined tribute to Diana, were generously donated to charities that held special significance for the princess. Elton John's moving performance at Princess Diana's funeral, coupled with the success of the song, added a poignant and enduring chapter to the legacy of the people's princess. Princess Diana's funeral procession incorporated several elements deeply rooted in British royal tradition, with a mix of customary practices and poignant personal touches. One notable aspect was the use of the royal standard to drape her coffin. Adorned with a mahogany border, the royal standard is typically flown above palaces and the Houses of Parliament when the reigning monarch is in residence. In the absence of individual flags for certain royals, this flag is employed. Princess Diana's coffin adhered to another royal tradition by being lined with lead. This practice, common among members of the royal family, serves the purpose of better preserving the body over time. While the use of lead contributes to additional weight, it is considered a traditional measure for deceased members of the royal family. Amidst these established customs, Princess Diana's funeral possessed a unique and deeply personal touch. Before the procession through the streets of London to Westminster Abbey, her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, placed a touching white floral arrangement on top of her coffin. Accompanying the flowers was a handwritten envelope with a simple yet heartbreaking message on it: "Mummy." This personal gesture added an intimate and emotional layer to the funeral proceedings, highlighting the profound loss experienced by Diana's immediate family. Princess Diana's resting place, the Althorpe Estate. Westminster Abbey, the historic final resting place for numerous notable British royals, such as Henry II and Elizabeth I, does not house Princess Diana's remains. Despite Westminster Abbey's prestigious history, Diana's brother, Charles, Earl Spencer, initially intended to inter her at the family's vault in the local church near their childhood home in Althorp. However, Earl Spencer made a decisive change in plans, opting for a more private and secluded resting place for his sister. The final decision was to bury Princess Diana on the private grounds of the Althorp estate. The motivation behind this choice was to ensure that Diana's resting place would be shielded from potential disturbances by well-wishers. Earl Spencer, concerned about preserving her peace, aimed to create a space where Diana could rest undisturbed. Following the funeral in London, Princess Diana's coffin was transported 70 miles to the Althorp estate. The interment took place in a private ceremony attended solely by close family members. The ceremony was officiated by a priest who was a friend of the Spencer family. The chosen location for Diana's final resting place is on an island situated in a lake known as the Oval. This serene spot is surrounded by trees, some of which were planted by members of Diana's family, including her sons, as well as by the princess herself. The island features a statue and a small temple on the shore, providing a tranquil and contemplative setting for those who visit. While the island is off-limits to members of the public during open days at the estate, it serves as a private space for Diana's family to remember and mourn her. Alongside Diana, several family pets, including her cat Marmalade, are also buried on the island. The decision to have Princess Diana laid to rest in this secluded and carefully curated location drew some criticism. Nevertheless, Earl Spencer's primary objective was to provide his nephews, Prince William and Prince Harry, with a serene and private space to grieve their mother. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the secrets of Princess Diana's funeral. We hope you found this exploration insightful and meaningful. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content. Your support means the world to us. Stay tuned for our next videos, where we delve into other intriguing topics. Until then, remember to cherish the memories of those we've lost and honor their legacies. See you in the next video. Goodbye.